Hello, everyone. Welcome to MiniDebConf last afternoon in Capital Dim. We will have some lightning talks, so I won't present everyone like Holger Levsen, yes, who is going to talk to us about a nice Chameleon thing that allows us to use Sequoia instead of GNU-PG. Yes, you're on. Go.
Thank you, Tuffet. Yeah, you know me a bit. I use Debian a long time, but I'm also involved with the CCC since longer. And this year, way too many people died, P2 and P2.5 from Debian. Yesterday, I learned about a third CCC friend this year who died, and that reminded me to say something I didn't want to say yesterday. A quote from a friend: "Since a few days, all these kind words I read all over the place make me cry and shout inside. Maybe we should tell each other this sort of thing more often while we're still alive. What about that?" Don't get me wrong, I'm immensely grateful for all the people like you all who've been putting in the effort to write and publish tributes. This is amazing for Luna's close friends and families and as a way to collectively deal with the death of someone we love, respect, whatever. But still, if I'm being honest, once I'm dead, I'll be pissed off to know that all these people are saying all these kind things about me that they never told me face to face. So seriously, thank you all for your amazing work. And now 5 minutes about Sequoia. And please don't thank me today. I'm exhausted. I don't want to talk about this. Talk about technical stuff or hug me or whatever. So, about Chameleon. Trying out Sequoia the easy way, OpenPGP written in Rust. Oh yeah, I'm Holger, or Olivier. I don't know much about Rust. I do know Debian packaging and I know Debian processes. I don't know much about Sequoia as well, so all bugs are mine. And BGP and GPG, in the past, BGP was the software. Today, BGP usually means OpenPGP as in the standards, and PGP, the software, is gone. And there's GNU-PG and Sequoia BGP and 10 other implementations, and many are in Debian. So this is the Sequoia logo. And Sequoia is OpenPGP in Rust, and Rust, you probably know why Rust is good. And Sequoia aims to be a library. There's also Sequoia the command, but Sequoia aims to be a library. And this talk is not about Sequoia. This is about Chameleon. You can install the command line client. You can use Octopus and Thunderbird. There's also the stateless OpenPGP protocol. But if you want to know about Sequoia, I recommend Justus Winter's talk from DebConf 24. Thanks to the video team. And enough introduction. So what is Chameleon? Chameleon is Sequoia's alternative implementation of a tool following the GNU-PG command line interface. It's meant as a drop-in replacement using SQ as a backend. The goal is to be 100% feature and bug compatible, where sensible. But some features will not be implemented. It uses GPG's keyring, but it can also use more sophisticated key management from Sequoia. And one message to remember, the original idea of this talk: hello world, apt install GPG from SQ, the end. Thank you. Sequoia's packages are team maintained with Alexander Kiel and myself as uploaders. In the past, DKG has done work, but DKG wants to focus on the general ecosystem and on the standards work. I've been freelancing with like 10 or a bit more hours per month in Sequoia. I've done about 100 uploads, mostly in the beginning sponsoring Alexander's Kiel work. By now I've understand the Rust, Debian, DebCargoConf stuff. So I'm doing my own uploads now, and the Debian Rust team is very lovely. If you search for Chameleon, you find 5 packages. And there's GPG SQ and GPG VSQ, like the verification tool and the other tool. And there's from SQL, which I explain. apt install GPG SQ installs the Chameleon binary, but into it with a different path. Only if you install GPG from SQ, you user bin GPG will be diverted and Chameleon becomes GPG. And on Trixie, I've done on all my production systems, which is one. But I also tested removing first. That was the first thing I did, and removing works. So you can try out Chameleon. If you find bugs which break your use cases, you can get rid of it, and fine. Still not the end. Update with Chameleon works, debsign works, encrypting and decrypting files works. And there's more things that work. So I'd ask you to just install it and try it out. And file bugs. And you might want to install SQ, because SQ is really nicer. And it's only available in Trixie or newer, and we won't put it into backports. And we are discussing security support with the security team, probably not for the whole Rust ecosystem, but there are already Rust applications which get security support, and we want it for Sequoia. It's definitely help welcome this. There's documentation, there's an upstream book about Sequoia, and the Debian wiki page, which is quite comprehensive now. Guillaume recently added how to use MUD with SQ and not with Chameleon. So these pages are both good. And please file bugs. Early and often, upstream loves bugs. And that's it. Thank you. I'm not sure there's time for questions. I guess not, no.
No, not really.
All right.
Not really. Yeah, we don't really have time. Thank you so much. But we can talk in person with Holger. And thank you very much. I think there's a second person now. I don't know who. Yeah, here. Carl, Pina y Estany, sorry, from Catalonia, if I remember correctly, who is going to talk about something. Yeah? Okay, he's arriving. Yep. Can you try some microphone, maybe?
Do that.
Thank you. And it's already on. It's one.
Maybe no.
Head
yes.
one.
Yeah, thank you.
Should be okay.
Yeah, thanks. Somewhere on the wiki it said maximum 3 slides, so I put 10 slides into 3 slides. So that's why they look like this. The last month on and off I've been doing something, I called it po-debconf-manager. And I've been having fun doing this, so I want to share this fun with all of you. And I'll just say very quickly what's the situation with debconf translations, the steps to translate them, and then because I don't like some of this workflow and some contributors seem to not get very engaged in some languages, what I've been playing on, and this is just an experiment that I've been doing, so I just want to get some feedback at some point about this. So debconf translations, yeah, here. This is the strings that are in Debian PO lang, CIPO for Catalan, PTBR for Portuguese Brazilian. There's more than 440 packages that have these strings there. So when you do install some package, it asks you what do you want to do and some upgrades installation. And often there are very few strings per package. So it's not translations of hundreds and hundreds of strings. It's just a package that asks 2 or 3 quick things. And there's 10 languages with more than 80% of the strings that are translated. But then there's a very big number of languages that have very few strings translated. So I think there's some room that we can improve here. And then the documented steps to translate is where some new contributors get a bit stuck, that you jump there, you read the steps, and they say, send an email to this mailing list, wait, but you don't know how long. Send an email to a previous translator, but all of this is to translate often 4, 5, 6 strings, validate using these things manually, and then final step, use bug report, and it says what to do. And you need to set up the severity, the tags, add this attachment with a patch or the file, and then include some translations. So the problems is this waiting time, that some translations get lost on that, like they want to do, but then they send an email, they don't know how long to wait. There is no review encouraged, there is no salsa encouraged. You don't know what to do next. You need to go to a website that it gets updated, but not in real time, and you don't know how to assign packages to a person. So what I've been playing, and this is the experiment, is testing in Catalan and now in Portuguese since a few days ago, thanks to Paulo. It's a CLI-based tool, but without any need of new infrastructure. You don't need to know Git. There's no waiting times. You can just start translating more immediately when you get a Salsa account. And the final step, instead of doing a bug report that I might implement, is doing a merge request on Salsa. So I want to leverage more Salsa flow. And I might do the bug report as well. It can be used offline, and it has 3 roles, because some translators in some languages want to translate, but they don't want to give to create merge requests, give feedback to upstream the Debian maintainer of the package. They just want to do only the translation without all the other things. And some only want to review things. So I have these 3 roles. And I hope that should be fun to use. There's some weblates being installed in Debian, and I think that both things can live together, but I need to look more at weblates and who prefers weblates or CLI tool or how. So I could do a demo, but I'll not risk it in a lightning talk. But basically, I want to talk how it's implemented, but how to use it is you do a git clone. If your language have been added, at the moment Catalan and Portuguese, you can find immediately the things that need translation, well, that are pending translation, doesn't have a translator assigned. You can do edit package, it runs PO edit, or it's configurable. You change the status, these are different status, and I'll do the transitions to avoid mistakes here. And then the manager can do a merge request, create package. The manager is anyone that has a personal access token in the configuration file. So using GitLab, Python-free GitLab, it can create a merge request with the new translation for the package. And then part of the fun that I'm doing, besides helping, we've been using this in Catalan for a few, to 20 or 30 packages, is that I'm using Git as a storage. So I'm using a repository on GitLab. And then instead of having a database, to not have more infrastructure in Debian, the tool that you run locally is interacting with this Git repository using Python-free Git. And it has some metadata files, because the number of files, we're talking about 400, 500. We don't need a relational database. It's been fun to do and seems to be working so far. So as a translator, you just execute. You don't need to use Git. You don't need to use Git, but it uses Git as a background as a storage. So you can just use the things, and it asks every now and then, do you want to push this? It writes a commit for you. And there is a package, well, the CA, the language PO file, and there is also the, actually it's called metadata thing instead of status. But there is a JSON file that contains who is a translator, the reviewer, last changed, merge request ID, merge request URL, and other data that gets updated. And as I said, I implemented this in Python-free Git, which for the translators, this is all that they need, and it's a normal repository. The manager can create and update merge requests on this way. And also part of the fun is, could this way of interacting with some packages or something could be used outside the debconf translate? Like I'm finding this quite interesting way of having some service. I'm calling this a distributed system because the code is in many laptops. The data is centralized on Salsa. And last thing, this Catalan translator who jumped and started using this and reporting bugs. That, his name is Poxenderi, that I want to thank for all the feedback from here. And if anyone had any very quick question, there's 20 seconds. Or no questions, and we catch up later.
Just one. Yes, thanks.
Do you have plans to store the translation on your stuff and give a command to maintainer to just pull all the newly available translation from time to time?
Yes, some of this is done and some is in progress, but yeah, I have plans.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think Ruka is going to prepare and have a talk about electricity stuff. I don't understand French people talking about French stuff, you know. Everything is going to be all right. Soon.
Today I will speak to you as a professional because my day job, part of my day job, concern, in fact, I am a member of a bylaw committee about electricity safety in France as a member of CNRS. So this is one of your best Paralympic swinger. It go through the channel without members. And it was hit by electricity. So what is the damage that you could get by electricity? So I will talk you about a case of a telco user. He was doing some measurement on the top of a tower, water tower, in order to implement a data center on the top of water tower. He let fall a measuring tape, metallic measuring tape, and the wind pushed the tape to the high voltage line. He died. So remember that we get more and more data, network, in an outside place. And outside place are not so safe. Green building, video protection, bioclimatic data centers means that we will push the limit of a data center outside. So you will get equipment outside because it's better for cooling. You put high energy density, so we will push the high voltage line inside the data center. No clear boundary between network equipment, building, electrical engineering. For instance, you have Linux on automata that are in power box. So if you put your hand with blood, you could die for programming the Linux. So you have an increasing risk for engineer, and I see it on the statistic, and I can have the photo of a guy that died. If you die in France, I could have the photo of the case. So please know. There are a new problem due to the loophole in the legislation in the whole Europe. Earth protection is a nuisance for IT because it decreases the RCD, that is the breaker, decrease the availability of your data center because you need to test it once per year and it has tendency to trip to stray current. So remove it. Oh, we found a loophole. If you on your rack you put small wheel, It is not a fixed electrical installation. It is a machine, and so you could remove the LCD. The only mandatory stuff is a 1x1 sticker and a lock. If you open the lock, you have no protection against the ground current. It's you that go the live to the ground. Please, if you see this sign, put your gloves. Low voltage does not mean no risk. High amperage means fire, short circuit. Sun, I remember that we could not break the sun. So you could not break the solar panel because you could not remove the sun. A battery, we could not remove the chemical process. So the supply will be here. This is, it will burn. Your wrench will burn if you put it on a 12-volt battery. So use insulated tools, safety first. No ring, no watch, no metallic stuff, no chain. Batteries. Please do not follow YouTube tutorial how to repair your electrical bike. This is in French because they, following the OVH data center fire, we have pretty strict regulation about battery manipulation. In fact, you could, a simple people could only manipulate a truck battery. Everything you need to be teaching, and this is more hard to get, is agreed by special state body. And every year you need to be re-agreed with a re-teaching of 2 days, or in only one centers in Celesta, Alsace. When your battery is swollen, please do not touch it. Do not do everything. I have people that die in companies that is specialized on remade material. So if a battery is swollen, throw it away. Thank you for your attention. Do you have any question?
Where do you dispose of swollen batteries?
If your workplace should give you some vermiculite or some sand material, with a box with a sand, and normally if you manipulate battery, you should put in something that could not burn. At home, do not put it on the balcony, put it on the ground, but not on the table.
And then, what do I do with it? Do I just cordon off my living room?
Go get out and call the fire worker, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Another question about electricity? Who asks? I thought you wanted to ask something else. Okay. So, thank you very much, Roucariès. Thank you for your presentation.
We'll see you later.
Martin has another slide to show us. And if you manage to make up your mind, you might have a 2-minute slot to present us something.
Give me this mic. Yeah, it's fast. It's only one slide, in fact. It's about all the Debian developers here who have an official Debian.org mail address. Just to make sure that you know that you can have also a Jabber and XMPP address, as well with a Debian.org domain. And you can easily create this account by setting your RTC, which is real-time communication or something, password in the Debian LDAP, which all DDs probably know. And if you're not a DD and cannot have this account, just check out joinjabber.org for an account or something else, or self-host with prosod and eJabberD, which are well maintained within Debian, so self-hosting is also an option. That's all. Thank you.